Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of Beyond the Romance. So this is going to be something different to my regular discussions with guests. This is going to be a weekly recap where I go through all of the shows that I'm currently watching or shows that have recently wrapped. And for today, I'm going to discuss the Netflix shows. Some of them are going to be Vicky as well. Vincenzo, Law School, as well as Sisyphus the Myth, and Killer and Healer, and The Rebel Princess, and a few others. We'll see. So for the first up is Vincenzo, and this one is such a hilarious drama. I love this. It's a really good mix of action, drama, romance, comedy in particular. It's so well done. It is directed by Kim Hee-won and written by Park Ji-bum. So this show is, again, as I said, funny, and the writer, I believe, Park Ji-bum, is the one who also did Fiery Priest. That one is hilarious. It was from 2019. It is it's so hard to describe, but it also is one of the funniest dramas. I think this writer has written some of my favorite K dramas, especially comedies, such as I mentioned Fiery Priest, but also I think there's two names, Good Manager, but also Chief Kim is the other name it goes by. So Vincenzo stars Song Joong Ki as Vincenzo Casano, who is a Korean Italian who has recently come back from Italy, and he's trying to get this huge pile of gold bars from beneath a building, and it's the hijinks and shenanigans that ensue from this whole situation is amazing because he's all tied up with Hong Cha Young, who's played by John Yo Bin, and Jang Jun Woo, who's played by Oki Tae-seon, and Jo Han Chu, played by Han Soon Yuk, as well as a whole amazing cast of actors playing these amazing characters. So right now we are at episode 16 on Netflix, and it's hilarious. It's so funny, and I like how the romance between Cha Young and Vincenzo is slowly building. We had a payoff kind of in episode 14 where they do kiss. And this is a kiss that any fan of the show has been waiting for forever. And normally with most K dramas, you get like the a kind of confirmation. But if it's a 16 episode show, you get a kind of romantic confirmation around episode 10. But because this show, I believe, is going on to 20 episodes, we kind of got the romantic confirmation in episode 14, but not really. And I'll be going into spoilers. So like they're pretending to be an engaged couple, and we had this amazing kiss. I was like, yes, finally an amazing kiss. We had no silly pecs, no stiffness. Like it was a real kiss. And after that, like they're softening between the two characters. Like we know they have like chemistry, but like just to see the kiss was amazing. And then the character of Jung Jun Woo, he's a psychopath, as confirmed in at the end of episode 15, where they do get like they get to find out his medical history, and they find out that he was confirmed to be a psychopath. And then we find out that his relationship with his brother, like if you've been watching the show from the beginning, you know that there was obviously like they're bullying because like Junwoo is not nice to his brother at all. And I have to like give kudos to not only to Taeseon but also to Kwak Dong Yeon for their performances as these two brothers who are complete opposites, but people think they're kind of the same. Whereas Jang Han So, he is so misunderstood, and he is, to me, he's almost like a little teddy bear. I'm like, I want to give him a hug because he's so downtrodden by his brother, but he has to keep it this facade of accepting the abuse that his brother puts out on him. And Kwak Dong Yeon has done an amazing job in this show, and I would love for him to get some nominations for next year, probably like a Beck Sound for Best Supporting Actor. I think he's doing a phenomenal job because he does a really good. He's so good at balancing between of a character who's balancing between like completely losing their mind and like just detaching and just like going full out, or someone who's like on the verge of like closing in. And this is kind of like Han So, where he wants to fight out against his brother, but that could like mean death for him, as happened in a couple of episodes where he shot his brother, but he missed with doing a direct hit. So he's terrified that his brother's gonna find out that his intent is not only to kill him but to replace him, to run Babel Corp. And now we are getting a really this kind of like, I want to say, uh not younger brother, but like he's being slowly sheltered under the guidance of Vincenzo. So I would love to see that relationship develop more, where he becomes like the younger brother to Vincenzo. And like the attorneys at Wu-Sang attorney, like we know, like Cho Myung-yi, who's played by Kim Yo-jin, she's just evil. But the thing with her is that she's willing to get people killed, but she's not willing. But when it comes time for her to be harmed, she's like basically a weakling. She's like she cowers, and it's just like, lady, you're willing to get someone killed. Like take whatever blows is coming your way, whatever is coming your way, you deserve. So like stand up and face it. But to see her carving is also an interesting dichotomy with her characters. I think that's really good writing as well. And there's quite a few characters like that, like the tenants of the building where Vincenzo is staying. From the beginning, I knew that there was something more to these characters. Like they weren't what we were assuming them to be, and like we're slowly learning. Like one is a hacker, one was in a gang, and like is extremely proficient with scissors or knives or anything with a that's very pointy. And like the couple we found out were both MMA fighters, and I think that's amazing. And not only was the husband, but the wife as well was a former MMA champion. And now they're gonna have a baby, and I'm like, nothing better happened to them or this baby. And that all of that is happened in episode 15 and 16. So I can't wait to see what happens for the remaining episodes. Like I don't want any of the tenants to die. I will not accept any tragic endings for anyone related to Vincenzo, including his mom. I am hoping that she's not really dead. I'm kind of afraid that she is really dead, but I'm hoping against hope that they faked her death. But considering how things went in at the end of episode 16, I don't think they'd like make Vincenzo like do all of that without actually having his mom die. So unfortunately, RIP mom. But if you do have a miraculous comeback, I'm gonna fully buy into it and rejoice. And and yeah, so that's it for Vincenzo. So my next show that I'm gonna discuss is Law School. This is also a Netflix drama. So when this episode comes, so when I'm gonna like publish this episode, we would have been 2 episodes in because it premiered on Netflix on April the 14th. So episode 1 and 2 came out 2 days separate. So like it wasn't 2 episodes at the same time. It was episode 1 on April the 14th and episode 2 on April the 15th. So this is directed by Kim Suk-yeon and written by So-in. So I haven't seen any of Kim Suk-yeon's previous dramas, and for So-in, this is, I believe, her first writing job. So like congrats to her. I think I'm really hooked on the drama because I love a legal drama that has really good mystery and also has really different characters. And I like, to me, none of them seem stereotypical, and which is something that could happen with a lot of especially legal dramas. But so far, to me, based on what I've seen from episode 1 and 2, like they're all unique and they're all their own people, and they're not necessarily stereotypes drawn from like previous dramas. And the cast is amazing. You have Kim Young-min, who's playing he's a lawyer playing a law professor. Yang Joon-hoon, Kim Bum, who we recently saw in Tale of the Nine Tail, who I am still bitter about didn't get a proper goodbye. Irang deserved a proper goodbye in Tale of the Nine Tails. I will be forever salty and bitter about that. So he's playing Han Jun-wi, who is a character, is kind of like if I was to compare him to any character, I would say he's like similar to Mike from Suits, whereas like he has a really good memory and he's able to recall like legal precedents and cases as well as codes. So he has a fantastic memory, and I'm thinking that's also his connection to Yang Jong-un, because Yang Jong-un also has a really good memory. And there's this motif in the show, and it begins in the opening credits where Jong-hoon is, he has this wall of puzzles that he's put together, and they're all of elephants, and there's these really big puzzles and with these teeny tiny pieces. And I kind of saw that as like a motif representing his ability to recall things and his fascination with puzzles and legal cases, because all legal cases, when you think about it, are like puzzles. You're trying to find the criminal, you're trying to find the clues to bring your case a positive conclusion, are one that is acceptable. And like, if you know of animals, especially elephants, they're considered to have the best memory of any animal in animal kingdom. Like they have, I think it's up to 40-60 year memory recall. So like they can remember things from 40, 50 years ago. So I kind of saw that as a connection between the two characters. And then you have Ryu Hye-young, who plays Kang Sole. And then there's Lee Jung-un, who plays Kim Un-suk. And if you've seen Parasite, as well as also um, oh my gosh, When the Camellia Blooms. I think she was fantastic and When the Camellia Blooms. Like her performances was amazing. She's a fantastic actress. I don't think I've ever seen her give anything less than her best for a performance. And she plays Kim Un-suk, as I said, who is also a law professor at this university. And I what I like about her character is not only is she a mature woman, of course, but she's playing like in the first episode, she was pregnant and we're seeing her also have this amazing memory recall where she's able to remember um every single student by their full name. Like she doesn't do like abbreviations, kind of like what Jong Hoon does. She recalls everyone's names fully. And for a class that probably has like 50, 60 students, that's super impressive. But she's also very she's very relatable to the cat to the students, and like they love her. She's very funny, which is very important, I think, for a professor, especially if you're going to do things like her class, I think, is the legal codes or criminal codes, sorry. And like she's able to relate these things to the students in a way that they understand. So I'm really happy to see her doing this. And so the whole premise of the show, sorry, is that they all become involved in a mystery, in a murder case that took place while they were all in moot court. So if you're not familiar, moot court is where law students, they go into a real courtroom and they perform a trial. So they present evidence. You have the students playing lawyers, judges, prosecutors, court clerks. They play all of the roles. And while this is going on, a professor is murdered. And so like this whole show is going to be about them solving this murder and who is the real criminal, as well as their figuring out who they are as students and who they are as people. Because from episode 1 and 2, I can tell you these students will make horrible judges and lawyers because they're biased when things happen. I'm like, you want to be a lawyer and a judge and you're already like you completely forget the legal tenet of innocent until proven guilty. Nah, you guys need to start this out. But I'm really intrigued by the show. As I said, I love a show where like I love plot twists that I can't predict, but I also do love when things happen that I know is gonna happen, but not as necessarily the way that is gonna happen. So I'm really enjoying it so far. And for Sisyphus the Myth, I've been loving Sisyphus the Myth. I need to finish watch the last 2 episodes because I know it's wrapped up, but I kind of got distracted by some other shows like Word of Honor and Killer and Healer, and then I started The Rebel Princess. So that's something that I do too. I start shows and I'm like, I need to finish these last 2 episodes, but then I get caught up with other shows. I need to do better at that. But I'm gonna talk about 2 more shows and I wrap up because I don't want these recaps to be super long. I want them to be just like give my general thoughts on shows that I'm watching and shows that I would recommend. And some I will mention what I'm watching, but I won't go in depth like for like I'm doing for law school or for Vincenzo. But I'm gonna try to switch it up every week so you guys get familiar with what I'm watching. So Sisyphus the Myth stars Cho Sang-woo, who plays Han Tae-sol. He is a genius, a legit genius, and Park Shin-ye as Kang So-hee. So I love these 2 characters. I love the show. It's a really good sci-fi. I think it's a really good mesh and a really good homage to different sci-fi. So like you, especially the Matrix. If you're a fan of the Matrix series, there are a lot of things that you will recognize. And I think they've done a really good job of integrating these homages into the show where it's not like super blatant, but it also doesn't feel like direct copying. It just feels like you're like if you're a fan of sci-fis and these films, you'll pick up these little influences, not only from films but also from like other K-dramas. And I think it's a really well written sci-fi. It talks a lot about the consequences of things that scientists, and this is especially in society now where you have like these robot dogs that are being used on American streets. Like please, have you not seen Terminator? Have you not seen Black Mirror? These shows and these films are cautionary tales. As I like to say, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Scientists, these are cautionary tales, and I think Sisyphus the Myth is one of those shows where it talks about just because you're a scientist and you have the intellect and you can do these things and you have the money doesn't mean you should. You have to think about the ramifications of your actions, and this is what happening because a machine that Han Tae-sol built basically brought about a nuclear apocalypse in South Korea. And because of his act, of this one thing that he did, like millions of people die, and millions more are dying because they're sick, and like there's nuclear fallout and all of these consequences. So like, hey, she comes back from the future, and she's trying to stop him, and she's trying to say your actions are going to have consequences that you can't predict. And she's like telling you, you kind of can't predict now because I'm telling you this is what's going to happen. But the thing is when you're dealing with things like time travel and the future, like every action that we make affects every decision that we're going to take and every step that we're going to make going forward. So even while when she's trying to change the future, like she's also changing the future in ways that she herself can't predict. And I love this, that the show's dealing with that. And it does tie into like the name Sisyphus has to do with Greek mythology, because Sisyphus is a character in Greek mythology who was cursed to roll this gigantic stone up a hill for eternity. And basically I see the show kind of like touching on that, where it's like when as you try to change the future, you're going it's like trying to push up this stone up a hill, because you're going to keep changing the future, and you can't predict what's going to happen, and you can't change it no matter how much you want to. And if you do change it, is going to create more destruction and more turmoil in ways you can't do. So like Cancel Hey and Hante So trying to change the future is them pushing the stone up the hill, because it's an impossible task, and the outcome that you want is not gonna be the outcome that you're gonna have. And so then you have like Sigma, who's played by Kim Byung Chul. He's extremely nefarious. He's this character who also came back from the future, and he basically planted these little seeds and these little things that led up to everything happening. And so it's like Hante, Soul, and also Kang So Hee and Sigma. The three of them are all like kind of interconnected, and they're this triad. And they're all trying to stop certain things from happening while encouraging things to happen. And like the last episodes I watched, which was 15, like Sigma, he's like, I wanted this to happen. Like what? And because of his background, he's like, it's a K-drama. He has traumatic past. He's a child that had like an abusive parent, and he caused the death of his abusive parent. And he grows up to be this psycho basically. And he had the power he had the power of predicting the future. And he told he told Han Tae So when they were young, because they went to the same school, of course, again another K-drama trope where everyone is interconnected, that he is gonna burn the world. And I just think it's interesting to have a character like this. So he's basically playing the devils to Han Tae So and Sohei's um angels, if you want to get all mythological and biblical. And you have these characters who are making choices for millions of people, and they don't care. Like Hanti, so they're trying to save people, but Sigma, he doesn't care about the people he's gonna destroy. He just cares about the power that he's accumulated and about what he can do with this power. And I just think that it's a really good show. Like the special effects are this like kudos to the production team, especially to the VFX team. I think some of my favorite CGI has been taking place in the show. I would say my other ones would be My Hollow Love, and also Mermaids of the Alhambra. And both of those shows are also on Netflix. They like the CGI and the VFX in those shows are so well done. And I would say that Sisyphus the Myth is like the VFX like spectacular. And I have to give a shout out also to the young actor who played young Sigma. Um, he I think he did a fantastic job. Like he got the mannerisms of Kim Byung Chul down like cold. Like he did such a fantastic job, and he's so young. So I'm waiting to see who he grows up to be as an actor, because he was really impressive. And that's what I'll say on Sisyphus the Myth for now. And I'm gonna watch the remaining two episodes, and then for my next recap review, I'll discuss those. So the next show that I'm gonna discuss is Killer and Healer. So this one is a Chinese drama. I think the genre is called Chinese Republican drama, and it takes place, I believe, around the late 1930s, early 1940s, and of course it's a period drama. But this one is so good. It's kind of like a police procedural gangster drama. If you've seen, oh my gosh, what's the one with the Academy? Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a complete blank. Excuse me. Um, but it is, if you've seen like other Chinese Republican dramas, it is very similar, and it's really good. Of course, it's one of those ones where it's like a bromance, but you know, it's based on a book where it's a, I call them male love. I don't like the term boy love, because like we're talking about grown men, and so I call them male love dramas. And these the two main leads, the lead characters, Jang Yulo, played by Mao Zijun, and Chen Yuji, played by Ian Yi. They're so good. They have ridiculous chemistry. I can't like they know they have really good chemistry. The other couple that I would say of that has really good chemistry, and another show that I'm watching currently is Word of Honor. But Jang Yulu and Chang Yuji are, they're so good, and like they are two completely different characters. I love shows where you have these, the two main leads are like they're complete opposites personality wise, but they fit so well together. You know, we say opposites attract, and so like this is obviously the case. And so Zhang Yulu is a police officer, and he has he's mentally ill, and I think it's important that they have a character like him who that does suffer from mental illness, and it's not stigmatized within the show. Like none of the characters that I can recall ever stigmatizes him having a mental illness. And Chen Yuji plays a doctor that he meets, and he's the one who diagnoses Zhang Yulu with having a mental illness, and I believe it's bipolar, and he helps him not only as a friend but also as a doctor. And I think it was really good to see this play a part in the storyline. No, it wasn't done perfectly, because he does things and it's not necessarily dealt with, because I'm like, as a police officer, you should be regularly taking your medication, for one. Two, these things should be discussed with your chief. And three, with the things that you do, no, you need to resign and like take care of your health, because he does do things like he kills people, um, and faces no serious consequences. Yeah, he gets locked up maybe for a day or two. And I'm like, yeah, no, you need to resign from the force. You should not be a police officer. Um, truly, he should not. But you know, like they, and then I think their romance was played really well. And then if you look at the cut scenes, like if you watch these genre shows from China, like you know, these shows are still like homosexual relationships in China are still very much stigmatized, and you can have shows that show explicit homosexual relationships. So like they're considered to be, they say they're sworn brothers or blood brothers, but it's like, you know, you guys are in love, you know, like, so if you're like me, you got to go and rely on the fan fictions to get the kind of romance that you really want. But the actors did a really good job. And then of course there's a second couple who is Yu Tang Chun, played by Patrick Kwan, and Zhang Junbai, played by Chen Yu Chang. Now, these two are very unhealthy. Like again, they had like the actors have really good chemistry, but then their relationship is also again very unhealthy, and the opposite of Zhang Yulo and Chen Yuji, where in the relationship between Yu Tang Chun and Zhang Jubai, um, like for Tang Chun, he finds out that Junbai is the one who killed his family. Again, spoilers, sorry. But he comes up with this plan to get revenge, and he's like, "You're gonna pay for killing my family." And Junbai is just like, "Well, good on you for trying, but I'm gonna, like, you know, chain you to a chair and try to force feed you, and you know, make you do what you want, and make you do what I want you to do." And Tang Chun was like, "No, you're not." And they had a tragic ending, unfortunately. And this is also typical of these kind of dramas. And I was like, I wanted better for them. I did. I wanted Junbai to be like, you know what? I'm a horrible person. I'm working in the opium trade. I need to divest myself of this trade, and I need to atone for my sins somehow, some way. But then when you really think of it, he pushes opium, he gets people addicted to opium, and he like causes the destruction of an untold number of families and kills people arbitrarily in his plan to create some army in the city. And I'm like, first and first, isn't the government gonna step in? Like you can't just like usurp the power of the city, and like the government isn't going to step in. That's not how it works. But you know, again, it's fiction. But then, as I said, I wanted them to have a happy ending. But then I realized, as I said, he is an opium dealer and he has caused so much destruction, so much death. Yeah, we can't necessarily get a happier ending. And then for the end of the show, Jang Yulo, he gets he I'm trying to figure out if I should how much I should spoil. But I'm gonna go full in. So like there's the real ending where Chen Yuji dies, and he's killed by Junbai as retaliation against Yulo, and I of course was devastated of this. I kind of saw it happening because like very few of these shows have both of them surviving at the end. Like if you've seen the On Team, like the On Team is known for its extremely unhappy ending. So fans have to go, as I said, go and read the fan fiction to get a happy ending they want. But what the directors did for Killer and Healer is they created an alternate ending where Yuji doesn't die. Like he comes back and like they're like we see them talking and they're sitting on having their noodles at their favorite noodle stand, and then we see them sitting with Yuji's sister with the fluffy cat. And I'm like, this is the ending for me. This is the canon ending, and I don't care what other ending they created. That other ending does not exist for me. The canon ending is Yuji survives, and they're raising his little sister with the big fluffy cat. And I have to say, actually, it was a cat. When I saw the cat in the poster, that made me interested in watching the show. I'm ridiculous, but I love shows where people have pets. And I saw the cat, and I told my friends, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna watch the show strictly because I have a cat in the poster. But I really like the show. I think it's about 38 episodes, and you can find them subbed on YouTube as well as Mango TV. And I'm really glad they did the alternate ending also. If you've seen Make Our Days Count, which is a Taiwanese ML drama, that ending, no. Please, writers, don't ever do that again. Real life sucks enough as it is. Let us live vicariously through through the characters. Let us see our characters have happy endings. We do not want another Make Our Days Count. Stop doing that. Stop it. And thankfully, another show I would also recommend is Love on the Line. So that one is a Japanese ML drama. You can find them on a Viki. And I think the director and the writer saw the uproar that Make Our Days Count caused, and they retconned the ending. And I've never seen that happen, where you have not only a show by a different production crew, but also in a different country say, we're going to take these characters that you guys messed up, put them in our show and rewrite them and give them the ending they deserve. And for that, I will always thank the writers and the directors of Love on the Line for giving me that happy ending, because please stop killing off your LGBTQ plus characters. No, they already have enough heartache to deal with society and the stigmatization they face. And as I said, in reality, things suck. We want escapism in our fiction. Please give us the happy endings that we got with Love on the Line, and thankfully with Killer and Healer, and also Word of Honor. So I'm going to discuss that one in another episode. It's finished. It has finished showing in China, but like subs can be slow, and there's a site that I think is YouTube TV that has all of the episodes subbed, and you can pay your subscription to watch those. So I'm gonna do that so that I can watch them, because I really love this drama. It's so well done. It's a Russia drama, Word of Honor, and it's so good. So I'll discuss that show in another episode. And I'm going to begin to wrap up now because I've been going on a little bit. And I hope you guys like this. And please, if you have any comments about how I'm doing this and to make it better for you and make it more entertaining, please let me know. Excuse me. And so other shows that I would recommend that I'm also currently watching, as I said, The Rebel Princess starring Zhang Ji. That's so well. Oh, the costume design, the production quality, the sets, the action sequences. I'm in love. I'm in love. And I stand the main characters, like the lead characters. So well done. As I said, I'm going to discuss that one, but I am in love with the costume designs in this show. It's so good. And another one that I'm also currently watching, this one is on Viki. Oh, Rebel Princess is on Viki, as well as Love is Science. That one is I want to say Taiwanese drama. So far only 3 episodes have aired. So they air the finished subbed episodes, I should say, are become available on Friday nights. So that's when I usually typically watch. I haven't like tweeted that one, but I do. I'm watching and I really like it. It's I don't know if there's a terminology for it with Chinese and Taiwanese dramas, but if it was a Korean, we call it a Nuna romance, where it's like the female lead, she's older than the male lead. And this is like that. So this is one where the couple like they knew each other as like children and they were in school together and like they, grew apart, life happened. I know they've come back together, but like he's in love with her. He had a huge crush on her as a child. I think he would have been around I think the age limit I'm thinking of is 13 and she was around 16, 17. So like he had a crush on her like but she just saw him as a friend. So now they're back. He thinks she's married, but she's actually divorced, but she's using her wedding ring for very specific reasons. Like one, she doesn't want to admit to people that she is divorced because she's running a matchmaking company. So she's thinking, how can I tell people that I'm running a matchmaking company? I'll find you your perfect love, and she's divorced. So that's gonna come. I'm interested to see how that develops in the show. I think that's gonna kind of be dealt with in episode 4, which is the next episode. And it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. Her shoes are fantastic. I love the fashion, but I love the shoes. And another one that I'm also watching, I've been watching Mouse. That one is a mess. That show's a mess. And also Beyond Evil. So Beyond Evil has gotten rave reviews. Like some of the cast, the two lead characters, the one of the lead actors was nominated for a Baeksang. I haven't finished it. I've only seen up to episode 4, but I was waiting. Well, I knew it got a lot of I knew it was really popular online, and I couldn't get all of the episodes the same time it was showing live. So I waited until I was waiting until all of the episodes were subbed to watch. Unfortunately, Viki didn't have all the episodes subbed, but I was hoping it was. So I've only seen up to episode 4. So I'm seeing that, and then I started Be With You, which is a Chinese drama. I'm seeing that one on WeTV. And what else am I watching? This is what happens when you kind of watch a lot of shows. But yeah, so I'll give the list of the shows that I'm watching in the description box below, as well as you can also find my live tweets for the ones I'm watching. Most of them are Netflix shows, so that people that are following my live tweets can take part if they want to, or just like observe what I'm chatting about. I'm using a hashtag dramas with Carrie. And you can also find other television and film coverage that I'm doing on butwhythepodcast.com, as well as my authory page, where I'll link that as well, where you can find my published work. And other live tweets that I'm doing is a Saturday night sci-fi live tweet. I do that every Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, where where me and my co-host, we lead a live tweet session with a whole bunch of people from like all over the world. They take part, and we live tweet like different sci-fi shows from all over the world, like Japanese, Chinese, Taiwanese, on Netflix. These are things that you can find on Netflix, on YouTube most of the time, or Amazon Prime, as well as Disney Plus. So we've been doing the Marvel shows. We did the WandaVision, and now we're also doing Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And you can also, as a critic, you can find the virtual roundtables I've been doing with the African American Film Critics Association here on YouTube with the apps through the AFCA website. We've done interviews with the cast of Gangs of London by Gareth Evans. If you've seen the Raid movies or Marantal, and you love his action, you'll definitely love this show. We've done interviews with other Black television and film creatives, Philippe Lacotte for his film Night of the Kings, as well as a whole bunch of other actors and directors. You can find them on the AFCA site, as well as I said, the YouTube channel. And I'm gonna wrap up now, and I hope you guys like this. Again, tell me if anything that you would like me to watch, offer any suggestions on how I can make this better for you guys. This is my first time doing this, so I'm a bit nervous, and if I'm talking too fast, I apologize. And until the next episode of Beyond the Romance, stay safe.